And I hit the button.
I have to. Recording.
What are you doing?
Recording here as well. Oh, Richard, summer is already over. It's the official end to summer.
I mean, I don't know. Hasn't the magic of summer worn off? I mean, like, you're an adult. You've been an adult for a little bit now.
I would say yeah, but I've got a kiddo still, so like that's still like his like seasons, if you will, of life. Like this is his off season is the summer. So there's still a little bit of that. I do enjoy all the light that we get still. Like it's still light out till like 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is really nice.
There is that.
Which I don't know. It sounds like they passed a bill in the Senate to extend that starting next year. But the House is like, no, not to get all political, but.
Oh, for daylight savings?
Yeah. It was interesting. It was like unanimous in the Senate. And then the House hasn't taken. It's been almost like 6 months.
Because nobody cares. And I don't understand why anybody cares. Because at the end of the day, like, we all look at clocks.
Care why we do it or if we do it at all?
Yeah, I'm saying both. At the end of the day, like, we all look at clocks now. Like, yeah. It made sense. It made sense, 60 years ago where we're like, oh, dark, oh, light.
So are you pro or con daylight savings time and changing clocks?
I guess pro.
You're pro changing clocks?
Oh, you mean like just I thought you meant like change like.
Oh, no.
What it's done. Like we've changed it.
I was worried.
And now it's done.
I was worried. I thought you were going to be like, no, I love when we switch clocks twice a year. It's my favorite thing in the world. I was like, Richard, we can't be friends anymore. I mean, that's going to kill our friendship. What's
it matter at the end of the day?
I'd be nice if they get rid of it because I hate like the spring forward time because it just, even fall back it's okay. Like, yeah, you get an hour's sleep unless you have pets or kids.
Or you work overnights.
Yeah, or you work overnights.
If you work overnights, then it's a bad deal because then you're there an extra hour.
Yeah,
you're at work an extra hour.
Mm-hmm. And then if it springs forward, you get off a little bit earlier.
Yeah, but you lose an hour of pay.
It's true. Yep. That's why I say get rid of it. That's why I say the House needs to pick this up and just get it done. Send it to the Oval Office. Let them sign it. You know what? That could bring the world together.
Yeah, that's going to be it. Oh God, if it was only that simple.
I know, right? But Richard, we're gonna have some fun today because we're gonna draft some stuff for our barbecue party.
That's true. That is true.
I am ready. I've got the coals soaked. I'm gonna warm them up.
We're gonna have a thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's. I'm feeling loose, feeling loosey goosey. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the nerdiest competition ever created by the Language of Bromance team. In this corner, obsessed with Star Wars and anything with swords, Richard! And in this corner, obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and scared of anything from the ocean, Shawn! In association with the LOB Army. Tonight's competition is a Language of Bromance Draft.
What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of bromance. And Shawn, this is the official like end of the season, right?
Yep. Labor Day is tomorrow. It's the time of the season where we say summer's over, kids are back in school. Before you know it, the leaves are going to start falling. It's going to be spooky season soon, but we're going to have one more.
Like school starts earlier.
I've been hearing that.
Than when you were, than what, like, I remember when I was a kid, it felt like school started later.
I always remember it starting like the week before Labor Day.
Yeah, me too. But
which my son started the week of the 22nd.
Yeah, like the middle of August.
And then it's about a week earlier than like kind of what I remember.
But then they get out earlier. So there is that. Yeah.
I don't know what's better or worse.
Yeah.
I know my cousin, when they went to school, they didn't have summer off. It was more of like I think it was like 4 week on, 1 week off kind of thing. So they went through summertime.
I mean, I would think that if you're used to it, then it wouldn't bother you.
Yeah, and when you say it, you're like, oh, that sucks because summer should be for kids. But you're like, well, I mean, they're less likely to lose, like, because, I mean, through the summer, lots of kids lose what they kind of learn. Like, there's a regression because it's 2.5 months off of doing schoolwork.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you kind of keep it up in more of that rotation, you don't lose as much, maybe. But I don't know. All I know, Richard, is I didn't invite the creepy uncles. It's a good group that's coming to my barbecue.
Oh, I did.
Oh, well, you got to liven the party up, right? Did they bring fireworks? That's the main question. It's not a party unless Uncle Ted blows off a finger.
They said they did. It's in their pockets.
Oh. I didn't know what a finger bang rocket was.
I learned today.
But, Richard, what we're going to do for the 67th time is we're going to draft. And it is our Holiday BBQ Draft. If you know, and you should, what our drafts are. They're NFL-style drafts where we flip-flop picks back and forth. It's 7 rounds. And back in the day, we flipped a penny to see who goes first, and I won. So on odd drafts, I get the first pick. Even drafts, Richard gets the first pick. So since this is an odd draft, I get the first pick. And, Richard, you're pulling up. I'm seeing you're bringing out your cooler. You're getting ready to pack some stuff in. You ready to do this draft?
I most certainly am. I feel like I am going to have a much better menu than you.
And what this is too, it's foods, it's entertainment, it's anything and everything you want to bring to your, basically to make this the most epic barbecue of all time. And Richard, I want to start out like you're grilling, right? Who doesn't grill on these type of holidays? That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what I always saw on television, so that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yep, and your choice, like most of the time, there's two main meats are your choices,
right?
I'm not going with either one because to me, and I don't do this enough, but if I want to have like an epic barbecue, like I think you try to have those other two items because some people want those, like the two I'm sure everybody's thinking of, but I want to go with something else that's penis shaped, but to me is much, much better. Richard, for me, my first round pick, I want to serve on my beautiful grill. I want to serve some brats.
You know what? I thought you were going with hot dogs, but I am glad that you picked brats.
I think at a barbecue you still have to have burgers and dogs because that's kids will want the dogs. Some people don't like brats, but to me, the more like sophisticated, delicious tasting meat is a brat. And brats, one of the reasons I think a lot of people don't serve brats is because they're kind of difficult to grill. They are very easy because to char too much on the side, not get them cooked in the middle, takes a lot of effort. And
do you
honestly,
pre-cook yours?
I was just going to say, yes, I do. I will boil them in beer first, and you basically get them pretty much cooked that way, and they get nice and juicy. And then you use the grill to kind of like basically just give them that grill kind of flavoring. Best
Poach
way
them
to
and
do it.
Finish them off.
Yep, I do that with my brats, my steaks, my ribs. Do it with everything. You boil it first.
Wait a minute, you do it with steaks? Why would you do it with steak?
Just to make sure it's cooked okay.
No.
My corn.
No.
My baked beans. My pizza.
No, you cannot. No.
No, the only thing I do it with is my
pre-cook a steak and then throw it on the grill, and I'm there, I will physically restrain you.
How do you take your steak, Richard? I don't know, like medium rare. Okay, well, that's going to take me about 5 minutes to get the water boiled. Oh, okay. Wait, what?
Yeah, I would lose my mind.
No, I only do it with my brats. It is kind of like, a lot of people get upset about this too, but I have
hate
done
it when somebody overcooks a steak. Okay, we're going to talk about this. We're getting into this. There are people, I don't understand this. There are people in the world that prefer to eat a steak that is above medium.
Yep.
And I think that somebody that orders a steak, somebody that eats and prefers well done steak, are either fall into two categories. Either A, they have never eaten anything else because when they were a kid, their parents gave them well done steak because they were afraid that, well, they can't eat undercooked meat because they're a little kid and the undercooked meat's going to, I don't know, send them into shock or the hospital or something or some nonsense, right? And so they've always eaten well done steak because that's what their parents gave them and they don't know any different. And so that's the only reason they eat well done steak. The second reason that somebody eats a well done steak is because they are a psychopath. They are crazy and they need to be put in a room and somebody needs to talk to them about the life choices that they have made them the person that they are. I don't take a stance on a lot of things. Oh, well, no. I don't take a stance on a lot of things out loud because, Shawn, I don't know if you know this, we live in a bit of a divided time. And so it's putting my opinion out there doesn't really, I realized a while ago that I do not have the ability to sway hearts and minds. So all I can do is have my opinions and know that I'm right and not force my right opinions on other people. I can explain my point of view and I can know that I'm right. But I know it's not going to change anything. At the end of the day, we're all just throwing water balloons at a brick wall, hoping it'll topple over.
Yeah, well, I know with like steaks, like some people don't like the blood, and that they see the pink, they think blood.
Those are nonsense people.
Yeah, well, and those are people too. Like if they don't like that, they're like, well, I guess I'll take mine medium well to well done. At some point, they're like, this is a horrible, like, this doesn't even taste good. Why am I spending $40 on a piece of meat? Just give me some chicken.
Exactly. They're like, why am I eating? Those are the people that go, I don't really like steak. Well, how do you eat it? Well, medium well. I'm like, that's why you don't like it.
If mine even gets a little bit over, like, that medium cusp where it's, like, just a tiny bit over, like, it's a little pink in the middle still, I'm like, oh, man, I cooked it too long. Like, I like when I put it on my plate, like that juice soaks out and it's like red with blood still. I know some people are like, oh, gross. But then you take a nice like homemade roll and you dip it in that like meaty, juicy, flavorful stuff and you just eat it. Oh my God, so good.
Medium rare. That's how you do it. Medium rare.
I go, if I'm cooking for me, it's medium rare, like just touching medium rare.
So great.
So, yeah. Oh, delicious.
Medium rare is the only way to eat a steak.
Yeah, but you can't.
No, it's not the only way to eat a steak, but well is definitely the way you do not eat a steak.
Agreed. But you know what you can't eat? Rare or medium rare? Brats.
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe not medium rare, but You can have it. It can be a little pink, and not kill you.
Well, it probably won't settle well. Like, cause brats is like I think
it depends.
Like a pork chop and stuff.
If you make them and like they're sitting next to the grill for like half an hour, like yeah, I tend to undercook a lot of like brats and stuff. I tend to go slightly under for two reasons. One is because if the internal temperature is still fine, it's gonna taste great and whatever. Second reason is I usually end up with a lot of leftovers. I am definitely an over planner when it comes to barbecues. So I always end up making way too much of everything because I want to feed like the world apparently. So I will slightly undercook brats because those brats some of those are going to definitely go in the fridge and then those are going to come out, like the next day you're going to be like, man, that brat was really good. I'm going to eat another one. Then you're going to take it and you're going to put it in the microwave. Boom. It's going to finish in the microwave and be perfect.
No, it makes sense. If I'm like making stuff and I'm not eating a lot of it like then, like it's kind of like you're food prepping, I'll kind of do that as well. Just like I won't be too concerned if I'm a slightly undercooked.
Yes.
I know like pork chops and stuff, like they don't necessarily have to be thoroughly cooked all the way through.
No. Pork you can I mean, especially anymore, like you can do pork medium rare if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you want. I mean, some people I totally get the pork stigma because I mean that's the pork thing got drilled into all our heads when we were kids. Like, don't eat undercooked pork; it'll kill you.
Yeah, so did cookie dough.
You'll lick a pork chop that's slightly underdone, and you'll fall over dead. And you're like, what?
But I love a good brat, like a beer batter brat. Like you get like either just like some normal beer, or sometimes I'll get like an apple like type of beer and boil it in that. Throw it on the grill. I'm a sauerkraut or like relish and like a spicy mustard on there.
Oh, your German's coming out. You're like sauerkraut.
Oh, I love me.
You know what sauerkraut is, Shawn? It's old cabbage. That's what it is. It's old cabbage. Is.
You know how you make it? You put your cabbage in your basement, in your cellar, and then like after 3 months, you go down and you wipe the mold off the top of it and throw that away or mix it in. I don't remember which. Either way, it's delicious. But I love a good brat, Richard. So for my first round pick, when you're coming over, you're getting a good old fashioned brat.
Well, I'm gonna top you right now because I am a bit of a high class. I go highbrow, Shawn. I'm a bit highfalutin, if you will. So last year I got this really sweet offset smoker.
Ooh.
And so for people that don't know what an offset smoker is, it's basically imagine like your standard like grill that everybody has, but like bolted next to the side of it is almost looks like a mini version of a grill. It's got the door in it and everything. Think of like, your barrel, like the barrel style grills, but then like bolted to one side of it in a corner is like a mini version of it. Probably like, less than a third of the size of it. And what that is, Shawn, is that you fill up with wood and then that's how you smoke food. Okay. So I've used it a little bit. And the one thing that I'm bringing that I think that I've gotten really decent at, I'm bringing ribs, Shawn.
Ooh, that's whenever you go to like a barbecue and somebody does like smoked pork, like legit smoked pork that they got up at like 4 a.m. to make themselves, or ribs. Because like ribs is a lot of work.
It can be if you're able to like. Honestly, like it's there's some prep time involved, but once you get things going, it's all just time at that point.
Yeah, I guess I said a lot of work. Yeah, it's just a lot of time. You gotta make sure you get up early.
It's time.
If you like sleep in too late, then you're kind of screwed.
Also depends on the ribs you're using. Depends on we could literally do a whole episode on on smoking meat, because there's like a debate on, do you wrap it up in foil, do you not wrap it up in foil?
Well, and it's supposed
tricks.
I've heard if it falls off the bone, that's actually not good. It's not supposed to fall off the bone. Well,
it depends. Yeah.
There's some of the barbecue shows, the guys say, like, if you eat it and it falls off the bone, it wasn't prepared the proper way.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. I'll get into this a little bit. So what I do is I don't wrap up my ribs in foil. I don't wrap them up in anything. They go on just they go in the smoker. One trick that I did pick up that I really, really like is in the bottom of my actual grill. I got some bricks, like just regular, just bricks, and I wrapped the bricks up in aluminum foil and lined the bottom of my the main grill. I lined the bottom of it with bricks, these foil wrap bricks. And so what that does is, as the heat passes through, the heat warms up the bricks and keeps the heat consistent in the smoker. And then I wrap them in foil just, to help clean up, because it's going to catch a lot of drippiness
grease
and whatnot. Grease and whatnot.
Interesting.
But the bricks, like, they'll warm up and they'll keep the heat consistent in the smoker, so that way your meat cooks evenly, because the trick with smoking is you want to keep a consistent temperature in your smoker. That's it. That's all you got to do. Usually, like with ribs, like I shoot for like 250.
Go slow and low.
250, and then some people use rubs and stuff like that. I don't. I just salt and pepper.
I was going to ask if you used a dry rub or like a sauce.
Salt and pepper. I can sauce it after.
I'm a big dry rub fan. Like, I like to find all kinds of different dry rubs and put on stuff.
Which is funny because you live close to Kansas City, and Kansas City is a sauce town.
I think I'm trying to remember if there's a lot of dry rub there too, or if that's St. Louis. That might be St. Louis.
St. Louis is rubs. Yeah. Kansas City is sauce.
And they talk about that. Like, you go somewhere in Kansas City and they all do both. Like, there's not it doesn't feel as no, this is the only way we do it. It's like,
Kansas City is known for leaning more towards sauce.
And I'm not gonna lie, a couple of places I've been to, and those you got to find the hole in the wall barbecue place.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's a pretty big one.
I just salt and pepper. That's all I do. Because then I can sauce it after, and then we're good to go. So,
what kind of sauce do you go for?
Your meat. I usually
KC Masterpiece. You better not say that.
No, no. It depends. I usually lean more towards a sweeter, to kind of offset, because I heavily salt and pepper them. So I usually go with a sweeter one to kind of offset.
Yes, there's a brand called Sticky Pig, comes in a mason jar. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if
give it a shot.
It might be just more local, but yeah, it's really, really good.
So, meat in the smoker, 250. Depending on how much you have in there, you can usually get everything done in 2 to 4, probably 4 hours.
Do you go beef or pork ribs?
Pork,
yeah, that's my go-to.
Beef ribs are fine. They just take longer.
Yeah, and they got
it's a wider bone. Another trick that a lot of people don't know is on the bottom. So when you get ribs, say you go buy ribs at the grocery store, on the bottom of the rib, on the underside of it, there's a really thin skin on the underside, and you want to take that off before you put your dry rub on. You just kind of like take your knife and just kind of like make a little cut along a bone, and then you can kind of get underneath it with your fingers, and it just peels off.
Makes sense.
It's called the silver skin. But you take that off before you put any rub on and before you stick it in your smoker, and it's good to go. But yeah, 250. I have a little electronic thermometer thing that I stick in the smoker just to make, and it actually pairs with my phone. So what I do is basically like I just hang out by the smoker, and then just, my phone will tell me what the temperature sits at. If it gets too cold, if it gets too hot, like it'll send my phone an alert.
Nice. Yeah, we've got a couple of those. Like the one, like chicken's one that I hate cooking because chicken's always kind of tough to tell. But yeah, you can kind of poke it with that and get the read, and then you're good to go.
Yep. So you add your wood. I usually go with apple wood. Add your wood, get it lit up, get it going. What you want is so you have your wood in the little firebox part, the little small part, and then you open your vent up on the grill, and what you don't want to see is you don't want to see that like black smoke, that like thick black or even white smoke. What you want is you want to see nothing at all come out of the vent. You want to see heat come out of the vent, but it looks like clear.
Yeah, but your initial smoke's going to be white, isn't it?
Your initial smoke's going to be white, but once your fire's going, then it's gonna burn. It'll burn through clear. So it'll look like, like when you open your car, like you get in your car after it's been sitting out in the sun for hours, and you know how like you can almost see the heat. It's like the little waves of heat. Yeah. That's what you want to see come out of the top of your vent. That's when you know that you have your fire set right and everything's good. If it gets too hot, that's when you open the vent of if it gets too hot, I open the lid of my firebox to kind of cool everything off. If it gets too cold, I add more wood, and then you just kind of babysit. You just kind of sit and watch your temperature.
Yeah.
And you want to just ride that 250.
Oof, I like it. Brats and ribs.
Spray it every now and again. I use a combination of cider vinegar and water, and just give it a little spritz every, like half hour, every probably like 45 minutes, an hour.
Makes sense.
And then
Keep
for
it a
the
little bit
last
moist.
like 30 minutes, that's when I'll sauce. I'll sauce it in like the last 30 minutes, and then it's out and it's done, and they're perfect.
And nobody else eats them but you.
Because I've hid them from everybody.
All right. Well, for my second round pick, Richard. So this is very cliche, I think. Like when you're at a barbecue with friends and family, like you need something to drink. And for me, like outside, it's usually pretty warm out. There may be a pool or some water, and you're standing around the grill. There is nothing better than an ice cold beer. And I'm going with like a summer shandy. Like a blue
I was
moon.
wondering how long it was going to take you to pick booze.
I mean, like when you're doing like the holiday barbecue, like I don't go like hard liquor usually. Like I'm not going to do like a Moscow Mule. That might be later in the
you're
day.
Sitting out in the sun.
There's a little bit of that, and like usually since I'm the one kind of man in the grill, like I don't want to get too sauced because then like at some point you don't care if the food tastes bad because you're super drunk and you're like I don't care.
Oh, that's not true. That is so not true. At least not in my case. I've made so much food completely hammered, and I really, really care if it's good.
But yeah, I mean, it's just something good about like a nice cold beer. And I'm not a Bud Light, Miller Lite. Like I'm not any of those kind of like American lager style. Those just give me nasty headaches. I'm more of like a craft.
You're
like,
a hipster.
Solid beer.
You want hipster stuff.
Not IPAs. I do not do an IPA, but
sure.
I want some more like smaller brewery, local kind of stuff. And that's definitely what I get. It usually just got a little bit better taste. You get a buzz, but you don't get like wasted. And there's nothing better like you finish that beer And like it's like a camaraderie thing, right? Like somebody finishes their
Can
beer,
or
you
bottle?
finishes there. I'm more of a bottle guy.
Okay.
I don't think like either one. I don't really think is better than the other, but just bottles is kind of my go-to. Because plus, if you have fireworks, you can give it to the kids so they can shoot bottle rockets. But like whenever you finish your beer, like whoever's around you finish the beer, and they're heading over to the cooler, they're like, "Hey, want another one?" You're like, "Yeah, I do. I want another one for America." That's what you think when you do that.
I thought this is Labor Day.
It is.
This isn't 4th of July.
Or
so
Memorial
you
Day.
want one? You want one for the proletariat? That's what you want. You're like, yeah, I want another one because we're workers, and the only thing we have to lose are our chains.
But no, for my second round pick, I'm gonna go with an ice cold beer.
Okay, well, I'm still stuck on food, Shawn. So I've done ribs. Here is something. This one, okay, so this one's super bougie, but I've done it, and everybody, like I've done it a couple times, and everybody has loved it when I do it. And so I think that this would be great also for a cookout. It's another smoke thing. You ready for this? Smoked salmon.
So like I thought like ribs I think is a very much like a barbecue outside thing. Like smoked salmon, like something about fish sitting out, because that's what happens at these barbecues, right? You get the food done, you put them out, you put some like paper plates over top of them so the flies don't get on them, but they sit out for a while. And like something about fish sitting out for a bit just does not sit well with me.
Well, see, I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about smoked salmon. And so smoked salmon behaves a little differently than like just grilling salmon on the grill. Smoked salmon, there's little to no water in it, and so it actually doesn't require near if any refrigeration, depending on how you smoke it. So what I do with the salmon is, again, you throw it in the smoker. You can do a whole fillet in like less than 2 hours. Like a whole half of a salmon. You can do a whole salmon if you have enough room and you can fit 2 half fillets, half salmons on there. You can get an entire fish done in 2 hours.
You couldn't have your ribs and salmon going side by side, could you? Would there be any cross flavoring going on?
No. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna get some cider vinegar out because I always have my cider vinegar and water in a spray bottle.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I might get some spritz. The one thing that I do with the salmon is I brine it for 24 hours beforehand. So you get yourself like a plastic container and you go water, salt, brown sugar, and then you soak it in this brine for 24 hours. And what that does is the salt pulls moisture out of the fish, but the water and the sugar, like everything penetrates but the salt helps pull water out of it, like out of the actual fish. Brine it overnight and then smoke it for 2 hours, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I haven't had your smoked salmon, but I have had it like fresh from the Alaska waters smoked.
If you go, you can go to some grocery stores and they have it like sitting out on, like you can get smoked salmon. It's just like sitting out on some shelves. If they like smoke it super, super heavy, like you don't even need to refrigerate it at all. Like you can go to a grocery store and it's like sitting next to like the cereal boxes.
Gotcha. Man, you're going to be all about that smoker at your barbecue party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
do you go to barbecues where you are not in charge of the food? I cannot remember the last time I went to a barbecue or a party where I did not have a major role in the preparation of the food.
Yeah, my dad and I both kind of feel that, like, if we're somewhere, we're the ones that are going to be cooking. Like, when he goes, like, if he goes up to, like, a fishing trip usually once a year, and he always ends up cooking breakfast and dinners and stuff, it's just kind of our go-to for it. So if it's not me, it's my dad. But, yeah, otherwise I'm not really... Well, I guess there's been a couple parties years ago where a guy smoked a bunch of, like, pork and stuff. So there have been some, but if I'm hosting or... Like, it's somebody, like, relatively close. Like, if it's my in-laws, I'm probably the one that's going to be cooking.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I went to a party or a cookout where I wasn't either in charge or directly involved for a majority of the time. Either in charge or involved to the point where I need to get there early because I have food to make.
Yeah, and so we do about mid-September. One of Tiffany's friends always has, like, they make their own Chinese food for, like, their birthday. And, you know, we'd always go to their house. We'd get there kind of after, so everything was kind of made. But last year we hosted it at our house. And, yeah, I pretty much, like, jumped in and, like, kind of took charge on, like, cooking everything.
Yeah.
Well, not everything, but, you know, doing a lot of the cooking.
How'd that go?
Good. Turned out really good. We're going to do it again this year. So
you're hosting again this year?
Yep.
All right.
Well, Richard.
So good they invited you back.
They said, we'll use your place again. So for my third round pick, Richard, like, you've got some brats going, got some drinks, but you need some entertainment. You need some competition. And the game that I enjoy, well, there's two of them. Actually, I'm changing it. I had something else. I'm going with this other one. I had bags on my list. And for some reason, I forgot about this other game. If I want to get a group of people together, it's 2-on-2 competition. You could do mini tournaments. It's a lot of fun. Richard, we're going to play some washers.
Okay, you're going to have to explain washers.
Oh, washers, Richard. It's kind of like bags. So there's you get about 15...
Okay. You got to remember that not everybody's from the Midwest, Shawn. So bags is the same as cornhole.
They call it cornhole, bags. It's got another name, I think, but washers is very similar. So you stand about 20 feet apart. It's teams of two. You have like 4 or 5 washers. Like, you think, like, you know, about an inch wide washer. So it's, you know, looks like a big metal circle with a hole in the middle. And you've got essentially the size of a coffee can and about a 2-foot by 2-foot box. So right in the middle is a coffee can, and then you got this box. And what you do is you throw all your washers in there. If you get it in the can, it's 2 points. If you get it in the box, it's a point. And if you land it on the lip of the box, you win the game.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like a kid's version of beer pong.
Kinda.
I would probably argue that there's a bit more skill involved in this rather than over beer pong, because beer pong, it's, you know, bounce once and hope you get it in a cup.
Yeah, it's a little bit more like horseshoes, I would say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And, you know, like, if you and I are, you know, if you and I are playing against each other, if, like, you get one in the box and I get one in the box, it cancels it out, and you play to 21, and you have to win by 2. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's one of those things where it's like, you're not going to get in a shouting match if you lose, because it's just kind of like, there's not like any kind of defense involved. Like, it's not playing volleyball and somebody spikes it in your
mother-in-law's face. You can find somebody that's going to get upset about it.
There will be. But for the most part, anytime I've ever played, it's always been real low key. It's a lot of fun.
You're that person. That's what it is. You're the person. You're the
Richard,
one.
I have broken so many washer sets. It's ridiculous. That's actually why I'm doing this, is because I'm not invited anymore. Holiday parties, because I've broken so many washers.
That's why they put you in charge of the food. That way you're staying away from the washers.
Like, hey, how's everybody like their steak? No, I meant, like, what temperature do you want the water? But my third round pick...
See, like, that would set me off.
But Richard, for my third round pick, we're going to play some washers.
See, you've moved on to drinks and games. I'm still on food. Okay, Shawn. So now we got to talk about. I feel like I've got my main attractions up. We got to talk a little bit about sides, because what barbecue isn't complete or is complete without sides? I ask you, none, and I answer none. You got to have sides.
Oh yeah, I'm pro sides.
I can't just have like a pile of salmon and a couple ribs on a plate. Like, there's got to be other stuff there.
Although that does sound amazing. I'd make it work.
See, I'm thinking about it and it's making my mouth water. All right, so what do you have as go-to like sides? Like, what are things that you're like, give me more of that. Or sub question, what are things that you would ask someone to bring?
I mean, I've got 3 in my head right now. Okay,
go. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, hit me with them.
Well, they might be my picks, man. I haven't gotten all the way off food.
Oh, okay. My fault. Okay, so I just have sides there as like a general pick. So here's what I have for sides. Okay, I like sides that complement each other. And so I have this killer 1-2 punch. You ready for this? I do a jalapeno mac and cheese. And so what it is it's a macaroni and cheese. I use white cheeses for the cheese. I use a bunch of different kinds, but it's a white mac and cheese, but I also saute jalapenos in with the cheese. So I saute jalapenos, then make the cheese sauce, and then add my macaroni, and then I also put more chopped jalapenos in it, and then chopped jalapenos on top. So this mac and cheese is hot, right?
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's got some heat to it. It's got some bite to it. I'll throw in like maybe a couple dashes of Tabasco or Sriracha. It doesn't really matter. But this mac and cheese has got some bite to it. So what do I do? I got this really, hot thing on the plate. What do I do for the right cross in my 1-2 punch? Coleslaw, Shawn. Scratch made coleslaw. And what do I do with the coleslaw? I add blue cheese dressing.
Oh, okay.
So it's a blue cheese coleslaw. It works just like a normal coleslaw. You've got your 2 types of cabbage. I usually go red green cabbage, little vinegar, little bit of sugar. I don't want it sweet. But then I add a bunch of blue cheese to it, because the blue cheese is going to cool your mouth after eating the mac and cheese. Just like with hot wings, you eat hot wings. You want, you got some blue cheese sitting there.
Yeah, you dip it in your blue cheese dressing.
Dip it in your blue cheese, right? You got buffalo wings, you dip it in blue cheese. I got jalapeno mac and cheese. I go with a blue cheese coleslaw.
I feel like jalapenos too is like a not used enough addition to foods.
People are scared of jalapenos, man. People are scared.
But like jalapenos and mac and cheese, you got that coleslaw, and like if you have those ribs, that barbecue sauce like seeping into the mac and cheese,
right?
Oh, that's heaven. That is heaven sounding to me.
You're talking about it, and you're like, ooh. Yeah. See, now you're smacking your lips at it.
The my coleslaw, I really like a good vinegary coleslaw, like a good watery kind of coleslaw.
Me too. I need bite. I need bite to it.
Yeah. There's some good ones. When we went to Memphis, like it feels like that's a very Memphis-y style coleslaw. I'm down for it. Well, I mean, you got the food stuff going down, but again,
I think I can say at this point, I think I'm good. The plates are set, but again, you got to remember, Shawn, like this is like I said earlier, a majority of the time, when it comes to barbecues, I'm either running a grill or I'm definitely like I'm handling all, if not a majority of the food. And so I need to make sure that my plate is set before I deal with the other accoutrement that accompanies the Labor Day barbecue.
No, I think it makes sense.
The LO barbecue.
Oh, I like that.
The LOB BBQ.
Yeah, the LOB BBQ. The LOB BBQ.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, you were dominating the food side. But again, I'm trying to get an overall like full experience. Because, I mean, you know, if everybody's out there all day, it's like, yeah, the food's going, but what am I going to do? Sit here and watch you cook? Like, well, now we got some washers for you to play.
Yeah, you're going to sit there and watch me cook because you need to understand.
The one thing that I feel a lot of times is missing from a lot of barbecues, can people think about it after the fact? You need some good tunes. You need some good music. And so I am making sure I'm bringing along, not like a little bitty like individual Bluetooth speaker. I want like a good size boombox Bluetooth speaker that you're going to sit on one side of the lawn and everybody's going to hear what's coming out of those speakers.
Okay, this becomes the point of contention. Who is in charge of the music?
Richard, I want to say it's me, but it won't be me. Like, I've got a cool pool playlist that Tiff and I had for our pool that both of us like that music. But there's been a couple times I've played that with groups and like songs come on that I really, really like that they don't know. And they're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Right.
So I am relinquishing that because my musical taste is not everybody else's musical taste. I completely understand that. And so for everybody else's enjoyment, I'm giving that away.
I will maintain that I think when it comes to music, there are only two people that should be in charge of the music at a barbecue. Either A, the person that has been deemed in charge of the music, you know, so somebody's like a point person on music and all that's been established beforehand. B, the person cooking should be the only other person that has a major say on what is being played. Because, you know, people are going to be out, people are going to be running around and chit-chatting and doing stuff. Who's the person that if they don't have anybody to talk to, they're focused on a task, who's the only other person listening to music? The guy making the damn food.
Yeah.
And so that is the only other person other than your designated point music person. Those are the only two people that should be allowed to have a say. Now, I will acquiesce that requests can be made. However, it is up to the point person to decide what gets played and what doesn't. However, the person cooking has a permanent veto power.
Yeah, there's the one time when I was playing my own playlist, like nobody had showed up yet. And this is probably where I say like I'd rather have a point person than me. So we got back to the campsite. It was just me and like two other people, and they were off kind of doing their own thing. So I was like, well, I'll grill everything. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, well, nobody's here. I'm going to play my music. And I was like, I'll play that pool list thing. Like it's got songs for everybody. Should be fine. And so like 45 minutes to an hour goes by while I'm doing all this cooking and people start kind of showing up. And so I've been enjoying this music, having a good time. And like one song comes on that nobody likes, like, who the fuck?
You're like four beers in. You're feeling good.
Like, well, sorry, I've been slaving over your goddamn food all evening. Yeah. I just want to listen to one fucking song.
Exactly. And that is why the person cooking has ultimate veto power.
Yeah. Well, at this point in my life, too, like I've come to grips that like I have a unique musical like palette. And I'm not forcing that on anybody.
Do you feel like your musical? I don't feel like your musical taste is like out there.
It's not like crazy out there. Like, but if I play a playlist at like a group of like my age kid, like people like in their mid 30s, there is a vast majority of songs that they're not going to know, and they're not really like group party songs. They're more like bands and things like that. And people, it's like whenever people are in the, like, they want to hear songs that they know and can sing to. You know what I mean? Like they want, you know, like pop 100 type songs or like rock songs that were #1 hits.
I would say that is true. The other thing you got there are two types of music that work when it comes to this kind of function. Either like you said, pop hits that everybody can dance to or sing along with, mainly sing along with, or B, very mellow, unobtrusive, just like vibe kind of music.
Yeah.
One of those two things, because the unobtrusive vibe stuff is very good if everybody's there and people are chit-chatting and eating food and hanging out and whatever, then it's fine because the music's not like overpowering anything that's happening. And so it complements the scene rather than takes it over.
It's more white noisy kind of stuff. Exactly.
Now, if it's stuff that, that's like you said, poppy and everybody sings along to, then that's fine too, because, that's what people, somebody sings along with and like, hey, look at George. I didn't know he knew all the words to Like a Virgin.
But he does, and the dance moves.
I made it through the wilderness.
But yeah, my 4th round pick, and especially now with Spotify, like you can get any song you pretty much want. Go with that Bluetooth speaker.
Do you have a set? Have you made? Does Tiffany have a set barbecue playlist? I'm still talking about music because music was going to be my next pick, and so I guess that's now I gotta go with something. I gotta go with something a little different.
Yeah, if we're going like our playlist, it's that pool playlist that we have. We need to kind of touch it back up because we've been playing it more at the lake. But yeah, that's kind of our go-to.
Has it changed much, or is it still?
It's just a list we add to. We haven't subtracted anything from it.
Okay. What's your go-to song on the playlist? What's the first thing you want to hear when you fire it up?
There's a band that did Katy Perry's Fireworks.
Okay.
And it is top-notch fire, Richard. It is so
okay.
I can't remember what the band's name is. I'll look it up while you're doing your thing, but the cover is like this like demon looking like metal girl, and she's got like I think it's supposed to be like a pie like on her face, but it looks like blood. And like Katy Perry's like metaled version of song, like it's one that everybody can get to because they know the words.
Sure.
And it's like this is actually kind of a cool mix. So that's the one that like I loved as my go-to. Like you jump in the pool and you hear that. Oof.
Okay.
Awesome stuff.
I like it. All right, Shawn, for my pick, I was listening to what you said about games, and which is interesting, but there's one thing that I feel also is it always ends up seeming to be a component at like mainly family functions that I have at the house, or even if friends come over. Shawn, and you kind of alluded to it, but for me, Shawn, one thing that you gotta have is you gotta have something involving water, and what I mean by that is like sprinkler, a hose, water balloons,
bottled water, so people don't get dehydrated and pass out.
You throw it you throw the bottle of water at each other and hit them in the head.
Do you go plastic or glass water bottles when you're doing that?
Glass, because that's the only. That's how you determine a winner in water bottle toss. Duh.
Timmy's crying again. He's like, "Oh, I can't see out of my left eye."
That means I won.
Hey, it's Labor Day. Don't you wish you had insurance? Oh wait, you're 6. Oh,
looks like I get the good piece of salmon.
So do you have a specific or just general like water play?
I like water balloons. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the water balloons.
That was on my list.
I love a good water balloon fight.
Yeah,
because with a hose, you got like one person in control, and with the sprinkler, like it's kind of stationary, and so everybody can run through it. water balloons are more dynamic. It's more dynamic, and it's more like everybody can get involved.
Well, it escalates too, right? Like, so you bring out the water balloons, and all the kids are like, "Yay!" So then the kids start throwing them, and then the adults get involved, and then somebody brings out like a water gun, and then all of a sudden, like the dad gets the hose. It's like, this is war.
Yeah, and then somebody picks up the cooler and dumps somebody with it.
Yeah, but it's too heavy and it slips and it hits him in the head, and then you got to go to the hospital.
Good times.
Oh yeah, Uncle Todd wasn't the same ever after that, but.
Yeah.
It's okay. He was kind of weird anyway.
He always wanted my hand in his pocket. I don't know why.
Yeah. I was like,
never found that water balloon in there, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Childhood
I found
trauma.
what he told me was, I was like, that's not a water balloon. He's like, no, it's a balloon. I'm like, what kind is it? A sword? There's balloon animals in his pockets.
There's no cloth in your pocket. You're going to lose all your change. Keep digging. You'll find it. Richard, for my 5th round pick, like you talked about some sides, and I agree. But like what I like about like barbecues and stuff is all the things you have for sides, like you said, it complements, right? Like your smoked ribs, the barbecue sauce leaks into the jalapeno mac and cheese, and the coleslaw mixes with the jalapeno cheese, and it all just becomes like this big buffet of like mixture. It's almost like a trough. Like everything mixes together a little bit.
Exactly.
And so one of the things I love, because like, with a lot of these things too, like you get chips and things like that come with it. You can dip stuff in it. Your mac and cheese, if you get some chips, dip your chips in it, or your coleslaw. Richard, I am a huge fan this time of year when it comes down to the sides, barbecue baked beans.
Yep, I can fuck with some baked beans.
Ooh, and I want like you talked about like all the smoking you're doing. I want smoked beans. So basically, like you have like
you want over the fire beans.
Oh well, no, like you can smoke. Like you got your smoked. Like if you did ribs. Maybe you have some burnt ends that you mix in with your barbecue beans, jalapenos. I had some fire pit barbecue beans from some of the different barbecue places around here. Oh, like you take a bite of that and it's like it's so hot but so delicious.
Yeah.
And like with this, like you get your brat, you dip your brat in it, chips.
Yep.
Anything else you have, like it just adds extra to it. So,
what do you? Okay, so you're talking about beans now. Do you have like a palate cleanser in there, like something to kind of like? Because with brats, especially like depending on what you put in the brats, like you're talking about. There's a lot of salt and fat in there. Your beans, you've got a whole lot of flavor, a lot of heat in there. You need something to kind of like
So coleslaw would kind of
cleanse the palate. You need something to kind of wash all that back.
Yeah, but I'm also pro potato salad.
Oh, okay.
Like a good potato salad's a good complementary to like your beans and stuff.
Out of all the like quote unquote salads that you see at like barbecues or potlucks or anything, potato salad's the one I get behind. Do you like a sweeter one or the more mustardy one?
I can do either, but like if like there's a really good like Spoon River, which is more of a sweeter. I really get behind that. That's kind of my favorite. I
lean more towards the mustardy again because I like kind of like coleslaw. Like you like it to have kind of that bite to it,
Yeah, I can do either, but there's like when we used to do fried chicken back home. The place we got it from had a really good, they called it Spoon River potato salad. And it was a little bit more sweeter. But that was good when you had, that kind of gave you the salty sweet kind of mixture. Wasn't super, super sweet. Like it wasn't like you're eating candied potatoes, but just enough to kind of, like you said, take that bite off.
Baked beans and potato salad.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's your classic. That's your classic, like roundhouse combo.
Yeah, and like you said, you got brats, you got your other meats, and you got those as a 1-2 combo side. Perfect.
All right, Shawn. Where am I at? Pick number 5.
Pick number 5.
I need some entertainment as well.
Clowns.
This has happened. No, okay. So you were talking about music. Now, obviously, I can't pick a boombox, although that's probably what I would have picked. You snagged the boombox thing from me, but I've got this. I've got one that's similar. So this has actually just kind of happened the last couple barbecues that I've had. I don't know how it happened. It just ends up like, hey, somebody can do this. One thing that I bring along to a barbecue, not bring along, one thing that I end up having at a barbecue is I end up having somebody just by, I don't know, I guess it's just maybe the type of people I know or attract or invite. I end up having somebody that knows how to play a guitar.
Oh, man. I don't know if I get behind this. Guitar guy at the party.
No, it's good. It's a good thing.
Anytime I've been around where like somebody can kind of play, it just is super awkward. There's a Mike Birbiglia does an awesome guitar guy at the party skit. Like it's one of his bits. It's so funny. It's so good.
I've always honestly, like the guitar usually doesn't come out until like way towards the end of the evening.
Yeah, usually.
Towards the end of the evening, and like everybody's a little drunk and everybody's just kind of like hanging out and mellowed out or whatever. And usually it's just somebody just kind of playing, and they're not like, honestly, what usually ends up happening is somebody starts playing and then somebody else starts singing.
Yeah.
I think I might know what you're afraid of. I think you're afraid of like the douchey dude that's like playing and singing along to.
There's some of that, yeah.
Bullshit. But I could see how that would be like. No, okay.
It's kind of one of those things too. Like it gets to that point in the night. It's like, hey, I'm gonna pull out the guitar. We're gonna sing Freebird. Like, I know we got this boom box, but we're gonna do like a shitty rendition of it. And you're like, all right, let's go.
Well, that's what the alcohol's for, Shawn, because that way, then you just don't give a shit.
That's true.
And also, most of the people I know sing pretty good, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like anti it. It's just like if you're looking risk reward, like there's a lot more risk than there is reward.
There is definitely a lot. There is definitely a lot of risk involved in that. I totally see your point.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you picked the little Bluetooth boombox, and I need some music. So
that's true.
So that's what I'm going with.
I'll dig it. I mean, I'll give it a shot. Like in that situation too, like it can't be loud enough. It's like, so you're gonna be doing that, huh? Fleetwood Mac, kind of like crapwood Mac. That's what it sounds like. So I'm gonna go play some washers.
I like some Fleetwood Mac.
But you gotta be careful, because if you're like, I'm done with this, and you throw a water balloon at him and it gets all over the guitar, then you gotta fight.
Well, that's why, like I said, this happens at the end when everybody's kind of sauced and they're all just sitting around because they're full and a little drunk, and so nobody really moves.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, again, risk reward. If like you're like, oh, I'm so stuffed, I can't move or I'll throw up. And then Greg's like, hey, look what I found in my car.
No,
I'm the guitar guy at the party.
I have a couple in the house, and so
I know 3 chords. Look at me.
I have Richard, a couple in the house, and so people just grab them.
Yeah. Well, I can do the Man Who Saved the World intro. That's about all I can do.
Well, you know what? That's more than I can do, Shawn.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
It's pretty damn easy.
More than I can do. So there you go.
Well, like you're talking, like it's getting dark out, getting to the end of the night. Richard, one of the things I like to do when I get to this point, because again, like you're all kind of like food's been put away, or maybe like the stuff that can sit out, still sitting out. That smoked salmon's still there because it can stay out for days. And you don't have to worry about it going bad.
Sure.
You know, you just want to sit back and relax, and nothing like calms me more than a nice, like small or like medium, like fire, like a little campfire. So at my party, what I'm going to have and make sure is there is a nice little fire pit. so everybody can kind of sit around and just in the night watching the fire, just crackling and looking up at the stars, hearing all the bugs going around, and just kind of enjoy your time right there together around that nice little fire.
I totally agree. You know what would be good around that fire? Somebody with a guitar.
Yeah, because if you run out of firewood, you can throw the guitar in.
Oh.
Thanks, Greg.
Bastard.
No, but you run the risk, like, Labor Day sometimes is, like, super hot. Sometimes it's, like, comfortable. So the fire can't be anything ridiculous because you can't be sitting around a fire when it's, like, 85 degrees out. Yeah,
exactly. It's not fall yet, Shawn.
I know, but usually you can get away with like a small one, just something crackling, a couple logs, throw some sticks on from time to time. But fire pit's always fun.
I can go with that. I think I've done this. I feel like I've done the same. Yeah, I've done the same. So I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I can stand behind it. Okay, Shawn. Well, to compliment your fire, one thing that I usually do is once the fire's going, that's when the s'mores come out, Shawn.
Oh, you took my money shot pick.
Oh no.
It's been years since you've stolen. It was gonna be my money shot pick.
You took my boom box.
That's true.
Snagged it up early.
Yes. Oh, Richard, there's nothing. I mean, besides when you have a bunch of kids, because it's still kind of cute, but like stickiness grosses me out. And when kids make their s'mores,
oh my god! How did you cover your back in marshmallow? How did that happen?
And every kid's catching like 6 of them on fire.
Yep. And so then this kid comes up to you, and they're soaking wet. Because of the day they've had, they're soaking wet.
Yep.
They're dirty. They're fucking covered. There's like they're covered in like visible dirt. They're soaking wet, and they have like marshmallow. This dark burnt marshmallow / chocolate over their hands, and they're like, oh, I'm tired, and they want to like crawl up on your lap to go to sleep, and all you want to do is just pick them up and throw them in the fire.
Yeah, but you can't, because when you do, with all the stickiness, they're stuck to your hands. Well, that's like you said, like the kid, like you're worried, like this kid's soaking wet, so it's like, how the hell are you sticky? You're soaking wet. Like, didn't you get any water around your face?
Yeah. And that's when you're like, why are you so gross? You're so gross right now.
They all do this, like they grip it like a football and take a bite, and like it pops out the back end all over their shirt. Or it falls on the ground. Or they're running around with it in their hand, bumping into everybody.
Yep, bumping into everybody. Or they fall down with it and just like stand right back up, and it's got like dirt clumps coming off of it.
You're like, I think this is grainy. Yeah.
And then what do? They walk up to you and they're like, oh, I'm tired, and like, can I sit with you? And you're like, no.
Yeah, they snuggle up when
go lay down in the tub, please.
Well, the bad thing too, if you're not at your house, then you have to put them in your vehicle.
Oh, you got to put them in your car. Car.
Yep.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And then I have 3 kids. Can you imagine putting 3 sticky kids in your fucking car?
Well, and like one kid, like you run the risk of this, but with 3, it's like guaranteed to happen because they've been eating all day. They've probably been drinking a shit ton of soda. They've just been down in like 6 s'mores.
Yep.
And they get in there after running like 10 miles and they sit there like, oh, my tummy hurts.
No, what happens is they're so dirty and sticky that they just meld into one like mega kid is what happens.
Kids
and so then you have to like
gross.
fucking jaws of life, pry them apart once you get home.
That's why you gotta
at that point you're just like so exhausted that you just don't even want to bother trying to clean them up. So you just like throw rags at them.
Yeah.
And you're like, just do the best you can and go to sleep.
Well, and like if you're at somebody else's house, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're hosting at your house, then you have all the kids like somehow like you lock all the doors, but they find ways into your house that they shouldn't be. They're like in your basement, or they're like, running around with their shoes like all over the place. I'm like very anti-shoe in the house.
Yeah, there's a half-eaten s'more on your couch.
Yeah. Or they stepped in one and they're like, oh, look, that's where it was. Nom, 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 nom.
And then they've tracked it through your fucking kitchen.
Well, I needed a dessert on mine. That was going to be my money shot pick, but I'm not a big fan of these like any other time. But for some reason at barbecues, I think these are like ideal. It's not as good as s'mores, and you run the same risk with kids in these as s'mores. But at barbecues, for some reason, I am extremely pro cupcakes. Like a good, like birthday cake / wedding cake, like white cake cupcake with not a ton of frosting, just a nice little topping of it. A little bit of sprinkles goes a long way.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually, there was a really
cupcakes. It seemed okay. Cupcakes for me are a tricky monster, because there needs to be a adequate but not overpowering frosting to cupcake ratio.
Agreed. Some people put way too much frosting on there.
Way too much.
And for some,
like you can rip the bottom off and try and make a sandwich out of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but like if there's too much, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work.
I've gotten to the point too, like before I felt like it was offensive to like just take a bunch of that off. But I've gotten to the point now where like if there's too much frosting, I just wipe what I don't want off and throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's you won't get these really at parties because it's kind of difficult to do a bunch of these, but Tiff and I used to go to like a gourmet cupcake place. So they'd make like key lime pie cupcakes. Like the center would be filled. They had s'mores. Yeah. I've had like a bunch of different ones. There's a place in Chicago that's got some really, really good ones, but you wouldn't do that here because that gets pretty pricey because you're basically just kind of making a mass amount of cupcakes. But yeah. My 7th round money shot pick, my dessert, since I can't have s'mores, I'm going to go with some cupcakes.
All right. Well, I've had my food. My food has been set. I've had my music, games. What am I missing? What am I missing from this most perfect of days? I gotta have this money shot pick. This is where I introduce drinks.
Oh yeah, you don't have any drinks in this.
Nope. This is where I introduce the booze. So,
Jägermeister.
Oh God, Shawn, I'm not 20 anymore. I don't have anything to prove.
Mom, whenever Dad drinks Jaeger, he's the one throwing up.
Ugh. Drank Jaeger when I was in my 20s, and now I don't have to because I am an adult, and I can drink what I want now. I can drink foo-foo drinks. I could drink whatever I want.
You should do Jaeger like a real man. It's like, no. No, I shouldn't.
No, Shawn. So I will start out. I usually go with Blue Moon as my like drink throughout the day. Yeah. If we're going with like beer, I'll do Blue Moon. When things start to wind down towards, after everything's been eaten and everything, I usually go with a hard cider.
Yeah, there's an apple.
Yeah.
Angry Orchard's a good go-to. There's one called Original Sin.
A perfect example.
There's a couple really good ones out there. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, if I'm not doing like a Boulevard Wheat type of beer throughout the day, like,
there's one I think they do like a blackberry. I can't remember what it was though. I do not remember.
Yeah, good cider. I mean, that's like a good, like, you get a good buzz, but it's also got like a very summery, and it's kind of a good night, like a good like end cap to the summer too, right?
Exactly.
If you're doing a cider, that's kind of leading into like your Halloween obsession.
Again, yeah,
apple cider.
It's cider, so it's. Yeah, I mean, we all know how I am with the cider.
In terms of like, I've drank quite a bit of Angry Orchard and stuff, and I've gotten drunk
Yes.
off of it, but I don't know if I've ever got like hungover drunk on it. So I don't know if there's.
I don't know. I can't recall.
I don't want to
It's been
try
a
to at
minute.
this point, but I just wonder if there's something about that because Angry Orchard on tap too, Richard. Oh, good stuff.
Ooh, I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
I like.
I haven't
that.
had it, but I can imagine.
I like that. That's a good money shot pick.
Yeah, that's how I'm winding my evening down with a good hard cider.
I like it. Well, did you have any and buts that you wanted to talk about?
Well, obviously I needed my own goddamn boombox, but somebody decided to be an asshole about it.
Well, you tried to get too much food at the front.
Well, I needed to make sure that I should have saved the food to the end because I knew. But I was thinking, because that's like you're not gonna pick salmon. You're not gonna have salmon on your list. So I should have saved that towards the end. However, I was thinking like chronologically or priority wise in my head. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta make sure my menu is established before I do anything else. Shawn, the last time I had a barbecue, I actually had 2 pages of notes that I made for myself going with like planning out my entire menu.
That's dedication.
With like timelines and shit like that. It got weird. And then I'm in the kitchen doing shit, and my wife was in the kitchen, and she was trying to like make desserts. Like her and my youngest, like they were making like apple turnovers and cookies and shit. Like they were making all this cool shit. But like I'm in there and I'm like, I gotta make macaroni again. I'm a goddamn way. I was being a complete asshole. I was being 100% an asshole.
Yeah, well, there's some of
And
that
I know
stuff.
that now, and I admit that now. But at the time, I was right, and they all should have moved and not touched any of my things and given me all the space in the kitchen, and they should have just left.
Yeah, I think some of that, like, you have to weigh like what you want to spend some time on, and like your jalapeno mac and cheese and coleslaw, like that sounds delicious. But if you're already doing ribs and salmon, like I know you're the kind of person that would still make that stuff, but you know sometimes you just got to buy off the shelf and allow for some you time and enjoying the moment.
I don't understand anything you're saying right now. Everything you're saying is nonsense to me. It's complete and utter nonsense to me right now.
The only other and buts I had, burgers and hot dogs, obviously. Those are always kind of a go-to for this stuff. One of the other things I kind of like, I talked about dip and chips, Dorito nacho chips. That's kind of my chip go-to.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. You do need a good like appetizer kind of like dip thing.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, to kind of like amuse-bouche everybody before you overload them with food.
You could do a good like buffalo chicken dip. That's always a good one. That's a good one.
That or like a taco dip. Like I agree.
You
do need kind of a dip beforehand.
And the only other thing I had for another like game type thing, volleyball. Volleyball's a good one if you've got like a 30 and under crowd can kind of play. We used to do that a bunch with my family.
I could see that. There was something I just had in my head, and it's gone. Drank too much cider, too much hard cider.
And you probably got distracted by a guitar guy at the party. So, but let me.
I probably did. That's
exactly
what happened.
This amazing LOB BBQ draft. So for me, my first round I had brats. Second round pick beer. Third round pick washers. Fourth round pick Bluetooth speaker. Fifth round pick barbecue beans and some potato salad. Sixth round pick fire pit. Seventh round money shot pick cupcakes. And for Richard, for his first round pick, he had smoked ribs. Second round pick smoked salmon. Third round pick jalapeno mac and cheese and coleslaw. Fourth round pick water balloons. Fifth round pick guitar guy at the party. Sixth round pick s'mores. And seventh round money shot pick hard cider. So you stole 3 things from me: s'mores, water balloons, and coleslaw.
Oh, that's right. You had water balloons on there.
Yeah,
I forgot you had the water balloons.
I like that. That sounds like if we combine these lists too, this would be the ultimate barbecue party.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what we
would.
need to do. That's what we're going to do next year. We'll get a tier on our Patreon, and if you're at that tier, you get to come over for a barbecue.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. But
I'd need
all
to
right.
plan it.
But all right, Richard, as we're tidying it up, getting ready to come in and throw those kids into the bathtub to get all the sticky, gross s'more stuff off them, what's some Richard's closing thoughts?
For all the effort that you put into an event, make sure you take the time to enjoy it. That is something that I fail at constantly, but we are nothing if not creatures built to improve and evolve. So hopefully in the future, I will heed my own advice.
Yeah, Richard, don't overwork yourself on this Labor Day holiday.
Yeah, it kind of goes against the spirit of the holiday, right?
It does, yeah. But, all right, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. And like I said, you want to join our Patreon and come to our LOB BBQ like Wendy and Aaron.
You guys will totally be there.
Ooh, they need to tell us
I
what they're
will make
bringing.
you food, and you will be like, "This is amazing."
Do you require people to bring stuff to yours? That's what I was saying.
No.
Like Wendy and Aaron, I don't think they should bring anything.
No, they don't. No, I got it. I got this.
All right. Well, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, I'm good, sir.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And remember, don't be a why. Be a why not. I'm hungry.
Damn right you're hungry.
Yeah. That mac and cheese does sound badass.
Whetted that appetite.